What is the weirdest fetish and so had that you just went with because they were hot? I had a girlfriend that liked to hold my d_ick while I took a piss. She would even do the shake. My first wife would follow me into the bathroom to do this. It was cool at first, but a bit annoying after a while. I always let her do it though cause it would usually lead to s_x. Oh, I dated one of those. She was a whole kind of crazy though. Still get nauseous thinking about her. Yeah, she was kind of crazy. Looking back, that was probably one of the more normal things about her. I had a girlfriend that liked to hold my d_ick while I took a piss. She would even do the shake. My first wife would follow me into the bathroom to do this. It was cool at first, but a bit annoying after a while. I always let her do it though cause it would usually lead to s_x. Oh, I dated one of those. She was a whole kind of crazy though. Still get nauseous thinking about her. Yeah, she was kind of crazy. Looking back, that was probably one of the more normal things about her. One of my exes had a rape fetish. At first it was kind of intimidating. I asked as many questions as I could before ever attempting. But still when it came to it I got hella nervous. As I started getting more comfortable with her sexually I really started to get into it as well. I never actually just came out of nowhere and manhandled her, but whenever we started getting into the mood I would just assume total dominance. It would get really intense, like the time I full force punched her in the eye and told her to shut her whore mouth and take this d_ick. I didn't plan on it, it just kinda happened. I hit her so hard I thought she was having a seizure, but then I realized she was having the nut of her life. She wore that black eye like a goddamn trophy. My beautiful wife, bless her soul and sorry for sharing this babe, don't hate me wherever you are, loved giving me head without a proper shower. Initially I resisted but she told me that a specific too clean taste on my genitals isn't doing it for her. As an Asian male I can attest that I don't have much hair and rarely sweat down there. Don't get me wrong, she doesn't want me dirty, she just doesn't want me too clean if that makes sense. Seducing her with the "I just took a shower" line never worked. It made me feel so manly and wanted I just let her do what she wants. She had a strong popsicle fetish. She'd insert and pull out and offer a lick. One day, part of the popsicle broke off inside. It was the man's job to lick out the popsicle. In hindsight, that situation was a lot more dangerous than it seemed. Isn't shoving sugary food articles up your v_gina a pretty surefire way to open the feeding grounds for all kinds of bacteria and fungi? Apparently so. She never had any problems but unfortunately, cancer took her life instead. F_CK, man. That took a turn for the worst. I'm sorry. She wasn't that hot but it was a year into our relationship and the first time S_X was lacking. She was never in the mood cause of antidepressants, but she revealed that the only way she could come was watching P_orn. I thought great, let's put P_ornhub up on the TV. But instead she would go to some sketchy website on her phone and hold it inches from her face. I didn't really want to know more but I got a general sense she was into old guys. Not old but old. Wrinkly guys. She also had only one specific position she liked that was really uncomfortable for me. Think reverse cowgirl but she leans all the way backwards laying on my chest and I also have to rub her clit and do all the thrusting. And just remembered, she loved giving Baheen blow_jobs but it was really just her sucking my balls for a really long time. My ex had a foot fetish. Not like the standard, used to be taboo but not quite anymore, rub a foot over your trousers under a dinner table while your nana sat across from you because you're out for her 92nd birthday. But like full-on shoving a foot up your A_SS like a wild raccoon had moved inside and the only way out was to tempt it with a piece of big feet lovin'. The worst part about it is that she didn't even use her own feet, she worked at a morgue and just brought them home. I miss her. I am married to this totally hot babe that really gets wet when I take care of all my responsibilities. Such a weird freak but I just go with it cause she's so hot. Gotta be careful with that. You keep associating doing chores with S_X you'll be rock hard every time you mop the floor for the rest of your life. Pretty sure she enjoyed talking to people during S_X. At least a handful of phone calls, and talked to her mom through the door twice. Hot. An ex had an armpit fetish. She loved to sniff my pits then lick them in bed. It was a little gross, but the worst part was I was very ticklish there so she would lick my pit in the heat of passion and it would make me laugh and pull me out of the moment. It's not weird but my husband is very into BDSM with him being a sub/me a dom. It's not really my thing but I love him, and he's hot, so I throw the leather on, bust out the whips, and step on it. NBD. Ball busting. Guy wanted me to kick him in the nuts repeatedly which wearing hard, pointy shoes. Also surprise nut punches and laughing at his pain. The relationship didn't last and the S_X wasn't very good but the catharsis and the memory will live on forever. Not me, But there's a great book called The Lust Lizard of Melancholy Cove by Christopher Moore. A shrink has a severe dolphin fetish and it makes for a great premise to the book. In fact, the book contains many interesting fetishes. She liked stuff around her neck, hands, collars, chains. You name it. It weirded me out because I'm paranoid about things going wrong, accidentally being too rough or not rough enough, and so forth. Thing is, I don't think she realized it until it was discovered. I mean, it started innocently enough. I thought it would be funny one evening to drape a section of dog chain across the back of her neck and watch her cringe because it was cold, as metal typically is. She thought it'd be funny too, instead of cringing, to moan suggestively. Not wanting to be outdone, I wrapped the rest of it around her neck and held it, loose enough not to be a choking hazard, but tight enough to restrict movement. Turns out whatever it was, the immobilization, the cold metal, etc., was a massive turn-on, and we proceeded to do what horny college students do in such situations. Later, after the clothes came off and we got down to business, she guided my hand with both of hers to the base of her neck and had me hold the grip she put my hand at. It wasn't tight at all, I'd figure somewhere between a tight turtleneck or a choker, but it obviously did something for her. After that, it straddled that strange line between fetish and joke. Like, if we'd find ourselves at the pet store, she'd jokingly hold up a collar and ask my opinion, and I'd make some crude, but endearing, comment about her being in heat or something, only for that collar or similar one to appear in her room a few days later. Or goad me into wrapping the chain around her by generally being annoying, roughhousing, poking at me, tickling me, etc., and saying to tie her up if I didn't like it. Of course, if it was more of a spur-of-the-moment thing, she'd show me where she wanted my hand to be. Gods, I wish I hadn't screwed up that relationship, if nothing else so that I wouldn't be stuck with the starfish I'm married to now. I know this isn't a relationship advice thread, but I think you should ditch said starfish. If you're just with her for the sake of your kids, then leave. It damages your kids worse if you're together. If you have no kids, leave. You aren't happy, and if you're calling your wife a starfish to strangers on the internet, I recommend ending it. He meant to say starfish. As in she's the best fish in the sea. This is very wholesome. In my college years I had a BF who liked to rub his D_ick on my high heels or thigh-high boots, like between the heels. It would totally get him hard as a rock, then we'd have hot crazy S_X, and when it came time to come he'd do it on my heels. My ex liked to fool around while wearing diapers and kikus. I didn't mind it as long as there were no bodily fluids actually involved. My crazy ex-wife loved, and I mean loved, me humiliating her in front of her friends. I already documented how crazy she was, and this was just the topping on the cake. Can you expand on this? She liked me being rough, verbally abusing her, groping her in front of her friends. She even let me F_CK them if she was there and could join in. He wasn't particularly hot but feet. Mainly wanting a hand job but with feet instead, and wanting me to wear super high heels. I wasn't really into it, but I went with it. Years later I was looking for a dom and came across another foot guy, decided I didn't want to deal with that nonsense again. The classic foot job. Foot fetishes are the one thing I'll never understand. There are lots of fetishes I'm not into, and more than a few I am, but I can generally at least understand why people like it. Foot fetishes are amazingly random and incomprehensible to me though. And it's not just a few people. I could wrap my head around a few people. You can find a few people into anything. It's a relatively common fetish. No judgment, let that freak flag fly. I just don't get it. Was with a girl once who was super curious about the act of guys peeing. Not peeing on her in any way, that would have definitely crossed the line. But because she was hot, I let her fulfill her fantasy of holding my D_ick while I pee, and then shaking it a few times. I let him live his Nico girl fantasy. Not and so, but a regular casual hookup. She would call me daddy, and that's alright I guess, but she got really into it after a while and it felt uncomfortable and incesty. Then we ghosted each other after a few months, so it was fine. I've always been into BDSM and I'm a sub. However, when I met my ex it turned out he was a sub as well. So I figured I'd give being a dom a try. He was generally into being tied up, being blindfolded, spanking, and the use of cock rings and stuff, so nothing too crazy. I had fun trying it out and doing it on occasion, but being a sub is more my thing. She wanted me to put my penis in her butt. I complied. A guy I was hooking up with for a while liked to be dominant, and turns out I was pretty into that. After months, he decided to tell me he liked to dress up as a chick, makeup, wig, lingerie, whole get up. Little weird, but I'm open to things, so I gave it a try. Actually wasn't all that bad, until he told me he liked things going in his ass when he took on being a female. Turns out, using a dildo on a guy isn't really my thing, and I was completely out on pegging him. Guess I'm better of being submissive and on occasion being assertive in the bedroom. I dated this girl for a little bit about half a year ago. She wasn't a 10/10, but she was definitely hot. So after hanging out a few times, the day finally came to head back to my place and things start getting heavy. All of a sudden in the middle of our intimate moment, she asks me to start choking her. Now I usually don't mind doing stuff like that because it tends to be controlled in a way that no one gets hurt, but this was different. I was willing to try it, so I started lightly while we were having S_X, but immediately she started asking me to tighten my grip. Okay fine, a little tighter won't hurt anyone I thought. She didn't stop there. She kept asking me to keep choking harder and harder, until eventually I literally saw her eyes roll back and she passed out for a few seconds. F_CK that shit, it scared me so bad I thought I had murdered her. Suddenly she wakes up and tells me all about how it was so good for her. Man, that shit made me so uncomfortable, but we did go out once more. We made it back to my place again and she started asking me to choke her like last time. F_CK that, someone's attractiveness doesn't matter if you accidentally kill them. I had to cut her off, it made me so uncomfortable. I never saw that chick again after that night.